Hello everyone, welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanamantri Vidyapeeth for the students of class 8. Once again, nice to see you in today's English literature lecture for semester 1. Students, in the last lecture, we introduced ourselves to a new prose chapter in English, isn't it? The name, as you can see, being displayed on the board, Man's Relationship with Animals. So it is a wonderful chapter that we initiated in the last lecture, and today we are going to recapitulate what we learned in the last lecture and continue with the reading of the story. In the last lecture, we introduced ourselves to a short story as well as we initiated the story that we are going to continue today, that is A Secret for Two. Before I make you read and explain the rest of the story, let us quickly recapitulate about the introductory story that we read. The story was about the relationship that man has shared with, a unique bond that man has shared with animals. So the story was about an Arab who had a horse, and one day when he was going to the market, or when he was on his horse, some robbers attacked him, and the horse brought the Arab back to safety, brought him back to home. And when the villagers saw this, they were surprised to see the relationship between a master and his loyal horse, because the master had treated the horse in a very good manner, in a very kind manner, in a very gentle manner, isn't it? So if you treat animals in a gentle way, in a kind way, because they are speechless creatures, isn't it? God has given us brains, God has given us understanding, God has given us speech. They are speechless creatures. So if human beings show kindness towards animals, naturally in turn they are loyal to you. We have seen in many YouTube videos, isn't it, that there are wild animals also that live with human beings, isn't it? I don't mean to say that in general, but there are people in this world who have trained a lion, a tiger, and many ferocious animals. They are under their control because they've shown kindness to such beasts also, such wild beasts also. So you see, man has always had a good relationship with animals and treated it well. Well, the main story that is given to us was about A Secret for Two, in which we understood that the story has been set in a place called Montreal, isn't it? A large city of Canada. And Canada has got some very wide streets, one like Prince Edward Street, where this entire story is going to develop into. Last lecture we understood the main character, perhaps two important characters we can say, that is Pierre Dupin and his horse named Joseph. Well, Joseph was named Joseph by Pierre Dupin after the holy saint of Christians, that is Saint Joseph, because Pierre Dupin finds Saint Joseph as a holy, a pious person, a kind and gentle person, isn't it? So he named the horse, white horse, that was given to him as a medium of transportation to transport milk from the company to different places in Canada, in Montreal over there, particularly in Edward Street where he used to go. And we understood that Pierre Dupin has been doing the work of a milk delivery man. He was a milk delivery man in a company for the last 30 years. So it's a big deal of time, isn't it? A long period of time one has served in a company to deliver milk from the company to people's houses in Prince Edward Street. So naturally a person would be knowing the places very well, and therefore it was told to us in the first paragraph that no one knew this street as well as did Pierre Dupin. And later on we understood that for 15 years out of the 30 years of his service, 15 years Joseph the white horse had been working with Pierre Dupin. And initially when he came to the company, when the company had brought this white horse and given to Pierre Dupin as a transportation, to attach it with his carriage and use it for the purpose of transporting milk. It was a very new animal, a new thing. So he showed kindness towards this animal. He looked into his eyes, gave him a name, patted him, isn't it? And therefore he tried to give a message to the horse that he was a good master to him. He would be having a good relationship. So he built this bond with him. Not only that, he spoke nice words with him. This is a nice horse, he said. He spoke this word literally to the horse, because as I just told earlier, it's an intelligent, a clever animal, isn't it? Horse is an intelligent, clever animal. And he named him Joseph. Not only that much, we understood that it was a routine for Pierre Dupin to arrive at the milk company, in the premises over there, in the place over there where the delivery was to be started from. And the cart was ready, the carriage was ready, loaded with milk, and Joseph hitched to it. Hitched means it was connected to it, it was tied to it, it was fastened to it. And further, what did we read? That Pierre Dupin just used to say a few words to Joseph, and Joseph used to start the journey. Once the command was given, he said that he never used the reins. He was not required to touch the straps which was required to control a horse. And what did he do? He just used to say, "Go on, my friend." Now I would like to tell you over here that people of Canada speak the French language, isn't it? Therefore I'll give you the French word, a French phrase for this, isn't it? What Pierre Dupin used to say, "Go on, my friend," which is known in French as "Avance, mon ami." So try to understand these words, what I'm trying to say, and if you can reciprocate, learn this, it's very good. Avance, mon ami, it means go on, my friend. Mon ami means my friend, avance means go on, my friend. He used to say in French. Well, this is a story, as I just said in the early thing also. It's in Montreal, Canada, so people of Canada speak French. So he used to say in his ears in a very polite manner, and the horse used to start the work merely with this command, "Avance, mon ami," meaning go on, my friend. Well, this is what we read in the last lecture, "Go on, my friend," and this splendid combination. See the beautiful words that the author has used over here. Sometimes it is a real enjoyment to read the author's words also, isn't it? Because we learn a number of new words, we enrich our vocabulary. So the author has written, "Go on, my friend," and this splendid combination, see a new word, splendid, wonderful combination, "would stalk proudly down the street." We came across the word stalk proudly down or stalk down, isn't it? We wrote the meaning also as a part of homework. Would stalk proudly down the street. Well, the wagon without any direction from Pierre would arrive in Prince Edward Street. So without giving any kind of go to left, go to right, or any kind of stopping in the middle of the road, wherever there is an hindrance, wherever there is a crossing, nothing of that sort. Simply Pierre Dupin used to say, "Go on, my friend, avance, mon ami," and the horse was so clever, so intelligent enough. Now he liked his master so much. He has been working for the last 15 years. Maybe initially Pierre Dupin must have trained the horse, but that is also an art, isn't it? To show love, kindness towards an animal, train it so well that you literally don't have to do anything. So it was a plus point for the two of them. So it was a splendid combination, and they would stalk down and arrive at Prince Edward Street to deliver the milk. The horse would stop at the first house. Well, let us continue our reading from here. The horse would stop at the first house. Allow Pierre perhaps 30 seconds to get down from his seat and put a bottle of milk at the front door. So you see, now Pierre Dupin used to get activated, started doing the work. What was the work Pierre used to do? To pick up the bottle, go to the door of the house and leave the bottle over there. In order to complete this task, what did the horse do? Horse used to allow 30 seconds, that is half a minute, isn't it? So 30 seconds he would allow his master. Now that is also something very intelligent. The horse knows where to stop and for how long to stop. Every now and then Pierre did not give any commands with the reins. As we just read earlier, I don't need to use the reins. the horse does the work of moving and stopping by itself. So the horse would stop at the first house immediately when they arrived at the Prince Edward Street. The Pierre Dupin did not have to give any kind of instruction to the horse. Simply he would come, stop over here for 30 seconds, give Pierre Dupin time to get down of the carriage, go to the door, leave the bottle of milk over there, and he used to climb back into his carriage. Again the horse would go on, skipping 2 houses and stopping at the third. So maybe the next 2 houses they did not have to make any deliveries, isn't it? It is not necessary that all the houses that were on Prince Edward Street would be buying milk from the same company, same milk company. No. So wherever they had to give milk, so it is something to note over here that the horse knew on a daily basis that he has to skip 2 houses. He has to remember that, and only intelligent people can do that, isn't it? So we can say that the horse was a very sharp one, a well-trained one, isn't it? Because the master used to show kindness, in turn the horse was also very loyal and dutiful. Well, so again the horse would go on, skipping 2 houses and stopping at the third. So after having left 2 houses, when the third house arrived, again the horse used to stop over there, perhaps allow 30 seconds to Pierre to pick up the bottle, climb down the carriage, go to the door and leave the bottle and come back and sit on the horse. Well, so down the length of the street the 2 would go. So that entire long street, Prince Edward Street, probably must be a very long one, although it's not clearly mentioned, but we can assume, we can visualize that the street would be a very long street going up to a great length. That is already mentioned over here, isn't it? Again the horse would, so down the length of the street. So whatever the length of the street was, that entire length of that street, wherever they had to give the milk on any number of houses over there, maybe 10, 15, 20. So the same procedure went on, that the horse used to go to a particular door. It means he knew where to stop, isn't it? So it had been well trained by Pierre Dupin. He had explained the horse everything, and the horse had also learned it readily. When will a horse do? When naturally the master has shown kindness towards the horse. It has treated it well, isn't it? So down the length of the street the 2 would go, then Joseph would turn around and come back along the other side of the street. Naturally when the street is over, either the master will ask using a rein to turn from the same street, or maybe if the route is to take a turn around over there. So here what was the situation? Then Joseph would turn around and come back along the other side of the street, isn't it? So he was able to turn around on his own to the other side of the street and come back to the company where they had to finish their duty or come and rest over there. When I came back along the other side of the street, yes, Joseph was really a smart horse. There you see the word I am just being advocating for so long, intelligent, clever. It was a smart horse. It was a well-trained smart horse. Clear? Okay. So Joseph, being a smart creature, a smart horse, made Pierre Dupin's work very, very easy. Pierre Dupin didn't have to give the command all the now and then, use the strap, pull the strap, loosen the strap, ask the horse to stop. Nothing of that sort. Once they arrived at the at Prince Edward Street, Pierre Dupin's work was only to pick up the bottle, climb down the carriage, go to the door, leave it over there, which would roughly take say around 30 seconds, half a minute, that the horse would allow Pierre Dupin to do. No sooner Pierre Dupin climbed the carriage, then he would again start his journey towards the down the street. So this is how both of them, the splendid combination, used to work in pair together. Isn't that sounding very beautiful, isn't it? So working with an animal like this is something to be surprised, something to be admired, isn't it? Well, further, at the stables, now we are trying to see what happens when they come back at the stables. At the stables, Pierre would boast of Joseph's skill. So when Pierre was there at the stables with the other horses, with the other co-milk wagon drivers, with his fellow workers, with his colleagues over there, isn't he? Was not the only one working in the company. There were other fellow wagon drivers also. Now naturally, They would also be having their horses. They would be going to their respective routes to deliver milk, just like Pierre Dupin used to go to Prince Edward Street, isn't it? So he would be boasting about Joseph's skills. He was so proud of that horse. Therefore, Pierre Dupin used to boast about the clever, the smart skills of Joseph to the other fellow workers over there. Naturally, when he says like this, what is he saying? I never touch the reins. He knows just where to stop. Why a blind man could do my job with Joseph pulling the wagon. See, these are very important lines. I will read the lines once again. Be very, very focused and attentive over here, because this has got something hidden inside it. So try to read this once again in a very, very focused manner. What is Pierre Dupin saying? See, at the stables, Pierre would boast, we know, to proudly say about someone's goodness, isn't it? Boast of what? Joseph's skill. Used to say a lot about him. Praise him. I never touch the reins. Well, we came across this thing earlier also, isn't it? I never touch the reins. He knows. Further, what is he adding? He knows just where to stop. We discussed that also, isn't it? He used to stop at a particular door, again leaving a few houses. So he's saying this all Pierre Dupin is saying to his fellow workers over there, his colleagues over there, to the other milk wagon drivers over there. Why? A blind man could do my job. See, further what is he adding? These are the important words that I want you to concentrate upon. Why a blind man could do my job. So what is he giving a hint over here? He is saying that even a blind man, Joseph is so smart, such a skilled horse, such a skilled creature, that even if a blind man is sitting on this carriage and is delivering milk to Prince Edward Street, he will be able to do, even a blind man. Now naturally we understand, how could a blind man deliver milk? How could a blind man? So there was no need for a blind man to give any instruction to Joseph. Joseph would take the milk wagon driver, the driver, to the designated or the decided spot and allow him to deliver the milk, with Joseph pulling the wagon. So if Joseph is pulling any wagon, if Joseph is such a skilled horse that if a blind man is also being associated or given this horse to work with, then the blind man will also be able to deliver milk. Such a skilled horse. So he was just boasting the skills of Joseph. Well, there is something hidden over here. This will be useful to us as we come to the end of the story. So it was on for years. So it went on for years. For many years, this kind of splendid combination kept working. So it went on for years. Many years they worked. So as I said, for 15 years, Joseph was now working with Pierre Dupin. Altogether, the service of Pierre Dupin was for 30 years. But for 15 years, past 15 years, he was working with this particular horse. So 15 years is a big long period of time, isn't it? So it went on for years. Pierre and Joseph grew old together. Naturally, if they keep working like this, as time passes, you become aged, isn't it? When you grow older, you become aged. So naturally, already 30 years he has been working. Pierre Dupin has been working in the company. So naturally, he may have not started when he was 1 year old, isn't it? Pierre Dupin must have started his services in the milk company. For example, if we just assume, say at the age of 20. This is an assumption I'm taking, at the age of 20. So after 30 years, he is now around 50-55 years old, roughly speaking. Similarly, the horse would also be similarly old, not 50-55 years old, but a little less than that. Okay, so for 15 years, the two have been working together. So this is 15 years for the time period with which both of them have worked with each other. So it went on for years. Pierre and Joseph grew old together. So both of them have aged together now. But foreman of the stables never noticed. There was a foreman. Okay, so there is a foreman. Foreman is the one who looks after the stable, after the other things over there in the stable, about the repairs of the carriage and the other necessary things. That is called a foreman. So foreman of the stables never noticed that they were getting old. So foreman never happened to notice this until one day something happened. Until Pierre appeared one day carrying a big walking stick. So one day this foreman, well, the name has still not been told to us. We'll get to know the name of the foreman in the next few lines. The foreman of the stable never noticed What did he not notice? That both the horse as well as Pierre Dupin both are growing older. They are aging now. But one day when Pierre Dupin came to the company with the walking stick, carrying a walking stick, naturally something new, isn't it? Sometimes you all of a sudden suddenly see someone doing something different. Well, someone who's not wearing a specs starts wearing a specs from one fine day. What happens? You may ask, well, you got specs, you start wearing specs now. Well, similarly, if you have got old parents, grandmothers, grandfathers, isn't it, grandparents, all of a sudden what happens, if they have become old and now they are not able to walk by themselves, they require some kind of a support to walk, then you may find it a little new, something different. So this is what happened. Usually Pierre Dupin did not use any kind of walking stick or any support for himself to walk. But one day when he came to the milk company with a walking stick, carrying a walking stick in his hand, that is when the foreman realized that Pierre Dupin had now become a bit old guy, an old one. Well, so we have a conversation between Pierre Dupin and the foreman. Let us see. Hey Pierre, Jacques laughed. So you see, now the name has been told to us. Hey Pierre. So he called out. Jacques laughed. Maybe you got the gout, hey? So he's asking a question as a part of a prank. Maybe you got a gout. Gout is a disease. Okay? Gout is the name of a disease. So hey Pierre. So he is calling out to Pierre Dupin and saying, Jacques laughed. Well, so we come to know that Jacques is the person who is laughing on Pierre, making fun of Pierre Dupin. And further he is saying, maybe you got the gout. Hey, do you really have gout? Have you developed that disease gout? Well, yes, Jacques, replied Pierre uncertainly. So in an uncertain way, he is not certain whether he has really developed the disease gout or not. But as one grows old, legs get tired. So he gives a kind of a diplomatic reply. And that is true also, isn't it? As a person becomes older and older, from his 40s to 50s, 50s to 60s, isn't it? Person's legs get tired. They happen to become tired, isn't it? They lose their energy. They are aging. And because of aging, a number of other things come to us with the passage of time. So here what did he reply? What did Pierre Dupin say in a very diplomatic way? Yes, Jacques. So he's replying first, yes, Jacques, probably, replied Pierre uncertainly. But as one grows old, legs get tired. So with the age, even I am getting tired. You should teach the horse to place the milk bottles at the front door of your customer. See, a teaser is over here. Jacques is now teasing Pierre Dupin. Why is he teasing over here? Because Pierre Dupin has many times told the foreman and the other people over there when he used to come that I never use the rein. I don't give any instruction to the horse, to Joseph. He takes me to the place, Prince Edward Street over there on its own. And maybe they were not ready to accept this, what Pierre Dupin was saying, isn't it? They were not able to say that it's true, to believe that it's true. So they were not believing what Pierre Dupin was saying. So he was trying to tease Pierre Dupin, who Jacques was trying to tease. You should teach the horse to place the milk bottles at the front door of your customers. When he is doing everything for you, isn't it? When Joseph is doing everything for you, he is taking you from the company to Prince Edward Street and all the way through the street without any instruction given by you, then why don't you teach your horse to place the bottle also? He will do that work also for you, isn't it? That is what he was trying to tease him. So you should teach the horse to place the milk bottles at the front door of your customers. Jacques said to him, well, he does everything else for you. That is how he is teasing. Well, everything else is doing for you. Isn't it? Driving the carriage and taking you to Prince Edward Street without your touching the reins. So everything else is doing for you. Then why don't you teach this skills also? Teach this and you'll have to do nothing then, isn't it? That is how he was teasing. Well, let us see further what happens after this. On the other side of page number 13, one morning, the manager of the milk company came to inspect early morning deliveries. Well, there are people who are working over there, isn't it? In a way, we can say laborers, milk. But there are other supervisors, there are heads also on higher posts, those who have to come on a very surprise visit or something to find out whether people are working properly or not, whether the deliveries are being done, is there any complaint also. So there was a person who was the manager of that entire milk company who has been appointed by the owner of the company. So one morning the manager of the milk company came with the purpose of inspecting the early morning deliveries to see whether the deliveries are leaving the company campus or the compound on time, because if they don't leave on time, naturally what will happen, the milk will reach to people's houses late, there may be complaint, the milk may get spoiled also, isn't it? So one morning the manager of the milk company came to inspect the early morning deliveries to find out, pointing out to Pierre. Now here something is happening. Pointing out to Pierre, Jack said to him. Now you know who's Jack, isn't it? The foreman who was taking care of the things in the stable over there. So he made a contact, he had a word with the manager of the company, and pointing out to Pierre, maybe he pointed out to show the manager that have a look at that man over there, have a look at that milk wagon driver over there, and he wanted to say something about him. Let us see, what did he say? Watch how he talks to that horse. Well, that time what happens? Pierre Dupin was about to start his delivery, and as usual we know what Pierre Dupin used to do. He simply used to whisper in the ears of Joseph, "Avance mon ami, go on my friend." So something he used to whisper. So there was always a conversation between Joseph, Pierre Dupin and Joseph. So that is what he wanted to show to the manager. Watch how he talks to that horse whom he calls Joseph. These are the exact words spoken by Jack. See the look in the horse's eyes. I think these two share a secret. Something was unusual over here, and this was understood by Jax. Try to get involved into the story, and I believe you will really enjoy this. So watch how he talks to that horse whom he calls Joseph. All this Jax was telling to the manager, trying to tell him that something is there between these two. I am unable to understand, I fail to understand, but there is some secret that these two people share, that is the horse and Pierre Dupin. Well, we'll come to know what is the secret, because that's the title of the story, A Secret for Two, because apart from these two nobody knew what the secret is. Well, let us see. See the look in the horse's eyes. I think these two share a secret. That is what Jax had understood. There is some secret between these two creatures. Sometimes they seem to chuckle at us as they go off on their route in the morning. Sometimes what happens, they chuckle. Chuckle means to make a funny laugh at someone, in order to tease someone, to laugh in order to tease someone. It's called chuckling or chuckle. Sometimes they seem to chuckle at us. So it looks like as if they are teasing me and the other people over here. So that is why the word us is used. As they go off on their route in the morning. So two people, so on their route, it is the route for Joseph also, it is the route for Pierre Dupin also. Well, Pierre is a good man. Further, he is adding and telling to the manager that Pierre is a good man, but he is getting old, because he saw him coming to the company with a walking stick, isn't it? For 30 years he has been working now. Don't you think he should be retired and given a small pension? So on behalf of Pierre Dupin, showing a little concern, showing a little kindness, what is Jax doing? Jax is requesting the manager, trying to bring him to his notice. See that Pierre Dupin over there, he is now getting old, isn't it? Now naturally, when somebody has worked for 30 years, devoted 30 years of his life in a very loyal and a dedicated manner, isn't it, he deserves some kind of pension. So that is why Jax told the manager on behalf of Pierre Dupin that is it possible that we ask Pierre Dupin to retire now, stop the work, give him some rest, ask him to rest for the rest of his life and take a little bit of pension from us, isn't it? So he asked, don't you think he should be retired and given a small pension? Well, to this, if a person is very, very loyal, company can do it, isn't it? So, of course, said the manager. The manager was very happy to know that Pierre Dupin has been working in a very dedicated manner. Further, he is adding, of course, said the manager, he has been on this route now for 30 years. And not even once has there been a complaint against him. So that is something wonderful, isn't it? It's a credit to someone's service, someone's work, that for 30 years a person has been working on the same route, but not a single customer or a single complaint against the person. That's really a wonderful thing, isn't it? So it was a feather in the cap for him. Of course, said the manager, he has been on this route now for 30 years and not even once has there been a complaint against him. Tell him it is time he should rest. And on this note, the manager agreed in a very ready manner. He showed readiness to what Jax had told him, what Jax had requested him to ask him to retire and take a pension. So he said, tell him it is time he should rest now. So manager already gave his consent and asked Jax to convey the message to Pierre Dupin that now you can rest. And further he is saying his salary will go on just the same. So whatever salary he is getting, same will be paid to him. It is not that a part of the salary will be paid as a part of pension. No, he was so happy with the work. The manager was so happy, so contented, so glad to know that Pierre Dupin had worked for 30 years now and not a single complaint. So in order to show gratitude towards his services, what did the manager tell Jax? That you convey the message that yes, he can get retired, he can take rest now, he may not work anymore, he can be at home, enjoy the rest of his life and not to worry about monetary thing, because naturally when someone gets retired, what about his bread and butter, what about his livelihood? So the manager gave his consent that yes, his salary would go on just the same, so he doesn't have to worry about his salary also, he will be getting the same salary that he used to get. So this is how Jax made it for Pierre Dupin. Well, so naturally Jax would have conveyed this message, the good news about his retirement and getting the same salary from the company without any kind of deductions or any kind of discounted salary or any kind of pension. Same salary he would be getting. But when Pierre Dupin was told by Jax about this good thing, Pierre did not accept it. Let us see. But Pierre refused to retire. Now when this was told to Pierre Dupin, that the managers allowed you to take rest, allowed you to retire and you get same salary, he clearly refused. Now who will refuse like this? But no, he refused. But Pierre refused to retire. He didn't want to retire. Why? We should be reading and understanding. He could not bear the thought of not driving his Joseph every day. See the words over here used by the author. He could not bear the thought. Not even the thought. So he could not even bear the thought. He was not able to think also. Because if he retires, what will happen? Somebody else would be riding Joseph. Somebody else would be utilizing the service of Joseph. So he was not ready to leave his Joseph. That Joseph was like his own family member, his son in a way. So he could not bear the thought of driving his Joseph, not driving his Joseph every day. So he was so used to Joseph that he said, not even a single day of my life can be there without riding Joseph. It was required for me to ride Joseph. He said to Jax, we are two old men. See what he's saying? We are two old men. So he's considering both of themselves that we are two old men. He considers himself as well as his horse now old, isn't it? Because it had worked 15 years with Pierre Dupin. Well, Joseph and I, let us wear out together. When Joseph is ready to retire, then I too will leave. See the highlighted words over there shown to you, very important words. Have a close understanding with this. What were the words? What were the emphatic word, the emphasis that he gives on this word? Joseph and I. So two men, let us wear out together. Now wear out means to let us retire together. Now wear does not mean to wear something. Wear out is a phrase over here. Let us wear out together. Let us get tired together. Let us retire together. Let us finish our duties together. So the day when Joseph will not be able to work, that day I will leave my work. So Joseph and I, let us wear out together. Let us finish our services together. When Joseph is ready to retire, so when the time for Joseph will come to retire, because after a certain period of time, you have to change the horse, isn't it? When the horse becomes too old and he is not able to perform his duties or tasks, probably he is about to die or something, then what will happen? Pierre Dupin said, I will also retire along with Joseph. Till the horse does not retire, I will not take retirement from my service. Then I too will leave. I emphasize on this word, I too will leave. I will leave. Now what to leave is not mentioned. Well, slowly you will get to know the secret over here. Jax, who was a kind man. Well, Jax was a kind man, isn't it? He had shown a selfless kindness by asking the manager to give Pierre Dupin, retirement and some pension, and which he had made. So Jacques was a kind man. So Jacques, who was a kind man, understood. So now he understood that it is not possible to separate these two. There is something between, there's a bond between those two. So we can also understand the relationship between horse and men. There was something about Pierre and Joseph which made a man smile tenderly. Now, when somebody is getting a chance to retire and get money without working, naturally a person would accept, and that too at old age. Isn't it? Retirement is loved. So Jacques understood that there was something about Pierre and Joseph. There was something between these two men, these two people over here, which made a man smile tenderly, in a very normal, casual manner, tenderly. He was smiling. Isn't it? It was as though each drew some hidden strength from the other. So they were the strength for each other. Many times it happens, isn't it? That you are the strength of someone and someone is your strength. So here a similar situation was there. Joseph was Pierre Dupin's strength and Pierre Dupin drew strength from Joseph. So both of them got energy from each other, looking at each other, working with each other. When they two were together, and all the time Pierre Dupin didn't stay in the stable, but whenever they came to work together, they drew energy, they drew strength from each other. Well, Pierre Dupin used to see the horse Jacques, and Pierre Dupin used to see the horse Joseph, and Joseph used to see Pierre Dupin. Well, when Pierre was sitting in his seat, so further it has been elaborated, when Pierre was sitting in his seat and when Joseph was hitched to the wagon, neither seemed old. See the beautiful words the author has used to explain the idea over here, that both drew strength from each other. So when Pierre Dupin sat on the carriage along with Joseph, and Joseph tied or hitched to the carriage, none of them seemed old. Both of them seemed energetic and young. But when they finished their work, Pierre would limp down the street. But when the work was over, when they had finished delivering the milk, completed the task, and they would return back to the stable, that time what happened? But when they finished their work, Pierre would limp down the street. He was so tired. He was really actually old now, that he used to limp down the street. When you have difficulty in walking, you take a lot of stress to walk, isn't it, at an old age? So you limp down, seeming very old indeed. So he was actually very old, but there was something between the two that gave strength to each other. The horse's head would also drop. But the horse also used to get tired after this hard work, isn't it? It had been working for a long time now. He would walk very warily to his stall. So in a very tired, wearily manner, he used to walk down and come back to the stall, over here, to the stable over here. Well, let us see further what happened. Then one morning, Jacques had a dreadful news. Now here comes a twist in the story. Then one morning, Jacques had a dreadful news. Well, I hope you remember what is Jacques, the foreman, had a dreadful news for Pierre. There was something that Pierre was to be told about. About what? A very sad news. He said, Pierre, Joseph did not wake this morning. He was very old. Pierre, you know, he was 25. And that is like 75 for a man. So you see, here the comparison is being made between the old ages of a horse to a man. So Jacques had a very sad news, a dreadful news to be shared with Pierre. Pierre, who liked Joseph, his horse, the white horse, very, very dearly, isn't it? Got the news that he was no more. He did not wake up, isn't it? Well, usually horses don't sit, but then when he dies, finally collapses. So Joseph did not wake this morning. He was very old. He was trying to give words of condolence also, trying to console him, isn't it? He was very old, Pierre, don't worry. Pierre, you know, he was 25. It means he was an old horse now. It was time for him to give up his life. That is the usual, the age for, or the time span which a horse lives, around 25 to 30 years, isn't that the lifespan of a horse? So he was 25, and that is like 75 for a man. So comparison is being made between an old horse and an old man over here. Yes, Pierre said slowly. So in reply, with a very soft, with a low voice, he's saying, yes. Slowly said, I am 75. So he is saying that, yes, I am 75. So naturally, he was also old like me. He was 25 years old. So the conversation, now I shall never see him again. My poor Joseph. With great tears in his eyes, with sorrow in his heart. He was so grieved. He was so taken aback that he was not able to bear this thought that his own, very own Joseph had now died and he would never be able to see him anymore, work with him anymore. So it was really, really a bad news, a dreadful news for Pierre Dupin to find out that Joseph would never work with him. He would never be able to see Joseph anymore. Well, so this was something very, very poor or a very sad news. Well, Jacques patted Pierre on the shoulder. Naturally, in order to give someone some support, some kind of condolence, you have to make someone understand, isn't it? He patted him on his shoulder. We'll find another horse just as good as Joseph's. You see, he is giving these words of condolence in order to make him a bit contented, to make him relax. Don't worry, we'll find another horse. He was just a horse. We'll find another horse for you, just like Joseph. Well, it is something secret over here, because Pierre only knew that there was none like Joseph. Why, in a month's time, you'll teach him the route, and in a month's time, what happened? Just like you taught Joseph about your route, isn't it? He had trained Joseph very well. So in a month's time, you teach that new horse that is given to you. So it is not a big deal. Well, why he was saying this? Well, he had not been able to complete the sentence also. You can see the word well with the dotted line over there. Well. So still Jacques has not finished his conversation. Pierre Dupin did not wait over there to listen to what Jacques had to say, because he was completely taken aback. He was completely grieved. He was completely sorrow-stricken. But he stopped when he looked into Pierre's eyes. So when Jacques saw into Pierre's eyes, he could very well see that he was very, very sad with this news, and he was not able to understand what he's saying. For years, Pierre had worn a heavy cap. So one thing that is being told to us over here, for years, Pierre had worn a heavy cap. You must have seen the picture, isn't it? A cap that was worn by Pierre Dupin. It was a heavy cap, the peak of which came low over his eyes. It was straight. Now it had come down over his eyes over there. Now, when Jacques looked into Pierre's eyes, he saw something which startled him, something which surprised him. So when Jacques was looking into Pierre's eyes, he could see that there was something surprised. So now Jacques was surprised when he looked into Pierre's eyes. What could he see in his eyes? He saw a dead, lifeless look in them. He could see that Pierre is alive, but still he is dead within his heart. So what are the words used by the author? Wonderful words used by the author. He saw. Who saw? Jacques saw. Jacques saw in the eyes of Pierre Dupin what? A dead, lifeless look. He was actually dead in a way, although he was physically alive, but his mind, his heart had been so grief-stricken that he saw a dead, lifeless look in his eyes, in them. The eyes were mirroring, the eyes were showing, reflecting the grief that was in the Pierre's heart. So the grief that was in Pierre's heart was reflected through the eyes of Pierre Dupin, and that was clearly seen by Jacques. And in his soul, in his heart and soul, Pierre was completely grief-stricken. Well, all this was experienced, witnessed by Jacques. It was as though his heart and soul had died. Though he was alive, but in a way it is dead, isn't it? Sometimes when some of your most beloved one has left you, you are in a state of dead, lifeless manner, isn't it? Although you are alive, you lose your senses, isn't it? So it's very difficult to explain the situation. So it happens, isn't it, people? Similar thing was happening with Pierre Dupin over here, and everything was being understood by Jacques. Let us see further what happened. He is giving him some suggestion and advice. Take today off, Pierre. Well, he had come for the duty, but when he came to know that Joseph is dead, he is no more. So he is now grief-stricken. So such a situation, what happens? People try to console, give condolence to people. in order to just make them comfortable. So Jax is saying, take today off, don't go to work today, take some rest. Jax said, but before Jax could complete his sentence and tell him to do so, Pierre was already limping down the street. So he had left the company campus, the gate, and he was limping down the street outside the gate of the company. He started walking. Maybe he's going towards his house. Tears were streaming down his cheeks and he was sobbing. So he was completely grief-stricken. Tears were rolling down the eyes of Pierre Dupin and he was sobbing. You know what is sobbing, isn't it? To cry with a little sound. Particularly babies cry like that, isn't it? So he was sobbing with a little breath and sound taking within him. There was a warning yell from the driver of a huge truck. So as he was limping down the street, from the opposite side, a truck was approaching towards Pierre Dupin. And probably Pierre Dupin had lost all his senses and he was walking straight in the middle of the street. That is what I am trying to just assume over here. So the driver was giving a warning yell, honking the horn, isn't it? When the driver sees that someone is walking straight into my vehicle, straight into my truck, what is the driver going to do? To honk the horn. There was a warning yell from the driver of a huge truck that was coming fast, and there was the scream of the brakes. So now when the driver realized that the person who is in front of his truck is not listening or something, or not making any movement or going out of his way, he applied the brakes, and the scream of the brakes, what he calls screeching sound, isn't it? Sometimes when you apply the brakes with full pressure or make a sudden brake, it makes a peculiar sound, a screeching sound. So the scream of the brakes was also heard. But it appeared that the Pierre had heard neither. So none of the two things, nor the horn sound, the honking of or the warning yell, that is the sound of the horn, neither the screeching of the brakes, none of these two things, neither was heard by Pierre Dupin. He had lost all his senses. 5 minutes later, an ambulance doctor said, he's dead. So what happened? The truck driver had met with an accident with Pierre Dupin. Pierre Dupin came under the truck. He had met an accident. So all this happened just outside the company gate over there, isn't it? So 5 minutes later, an ambulance doctor said, he is dead, he is no more. Who had died? Pierre Dupin had died. Well, Jax and several of the milk wagon drivers had arrived by then. So naturally, when such an accident happened, the people who are there in the nearby company or nearby industrial places would be gathered over there to find out what happened. Is there someone whom we know? Is there someone we can help? Because accident is such a thing, isn't it? So Jax and several of the milk wagon drivers had arrived by then. They reached over there. They looked down at the still figure. See the beautiful words? They looked down at the still figure, isn't it? When someone is dead, it doesn't move. Still figure. A still person, dead person, still figure. I couldn't help it, the driver of the truck protested. Naturally, what happens like this, the driver is to be blamed that you didn't take care so the driver tried to protest that it was not my fault. So I didn't do it deliberately. I couldn't help it, the driver of the truck protested. He walked right into my truck. So I couldn't do it. It say he deliberately came into my truck. So what could I do? He never saw it. He never saw my truck, I guess. So have a look at these careful words over here. What is the driver saying? He walked right into my truck. He never saw it. One line, one sentence, one sentence over here. I guess. He is guessing as if the person was not able to see. Further he is adding and saying he walked into my truck as though he were blind. So I feel, the driver is saying that I feel that this man was blind. He is just making a suspicious doubt over here, as if the man was blind and that is why he was not able to see my truck, and he came into under my truck and he met with an accident. To this statement, when this statement was said by the driver, making a kind of a suspicion that he was blind, that time the doctor again inspected Pierre Dupin. The ambulance doctor now bent down. See what is happening? The ambulance doctor bent down. Blind, see the emphasis on this word, blind, he said, looking into Pierre's eyes. The doctor examined, in a way re-examined. When he had already said 5 minutes ago he is dead, But when the driver brought out this possibility that the man was blind and that is why he was not able to see the truck, such a big truck coming in front of him, and he happened to meet an accident, the ambulance doctor bent down and said this one word, blind. He said, looking into Pierre's eyes. So, matters, of course the man was blind. See those cataracts? So he's asking the people over there, see those cataracts? Well, we know what's cataract. Cataract is a eye disease, isn't it? Cataracts. Well, so he had been suffering from the cataract, an eye disease. This man has been blind for 5 years. Surprising, isn't it? Who knew this? None of the milk wagon drivers, the co-workers, the manager, anybody in the milk company knew that Pierre Dupin had been blind for 5 years. And remember the sentence, any blind man can do the job of delivering milk with Joseph. That is what he had said earlier. Well, this man has been blind for 5 years. Then he turned to Jacques and said, you say he worked for you? So he turned and saying that you say he worked for you? How could a blind man work for a company delivering milk? Well, you require your vision, your sight, isn't it? You need to see the route. You need to see the door where you are delivering. So, a vision is very important. But you say he worked for you? Didn't you know he was blind? So, none of the people in the company knew that he was a blind man? No. Jack said softly. None of us knew. There was only one who knew. A friend of his named Joseph. So you see, this last stanza giving us the reply from Jacques. What is Jacques saying? When the doctor is questioning that, didn't you know he was blind? Clearly he is saying that none of us knew, no one knew that Pierre Dupin was blind, and that too for 5 years. How could a blind person work in the company? Isn't it? Who would be appointing a blind person in the company to deliver milks? Definitely there would have been accident. So there was something between the two that Jacques had already suspected earlier, and now it is being revealed over here in this last stanza by the end of the story. No, none of us knew that he was blind. But yes, there was one person, a friend of his, who knew, that was Joseph. So you see how beautifully the story has come to an end with a kind of a twist over here. It was a secret. See the beautiful words. The last line is very, very important, very beautiful, very good to read. It gives you a satisfaction of having read the entire story. It was a secret, I think, just between the two. So what is Jack saying? It was a secret between only two people. That is the white horse Joseph and his master, who used to drive him in the carriage over there, that is Pierre Dupin. So you see how wonderful the secret is that has now been revealed to in general to the people over there, the co-workers over there. No one knew about this, that Pierre Dupin had been blind for 5 years and he was suffering from cataracts. None of them knew, but just one person knew. So you see what a unique relationship between man and animal. So the story really mesmerizes us, tells us that human beings share a unique bond between themselves and animals. So here the name of the title as well as the story, that is man's relationship with animal, as well as the title of the story, A Secret for Two, has been properly justified, satisfied over here. So I hope you understood the story very well, and it's now time to discuss the homework. So look at page 15. Earlier you had written the first 6 words and phrases. You got to write the rest of the words and phrases given to you on page 15, starting from to boast all the way up to the next page. Turn the page to page number 16, to the last phrase given to you, the still figure. Note this down. I'll note it down for you on the board. You can note it down as well. Homework. Write glossary from page 15 and 16. So this is going to be your homework for today. Do the homework, make a PDF of the same and submit it after the lecture. Well, we come to an end of this lecture. In the upcoming lecture, we'll discuss the rest of the things given to us in our material and the text about the grammar and the other necessary things. Till then, take care. Have a nice day and goodbye.